So what I'd like to do in this session is to look at some of the problems that we face as writers. If somebody were to say to you, what's the difference, the defining difference between real life, in other words, let's take what has happened to us today, right? What's the difference between that and what happens in a work of fiction? There's one central difference. The difference, gentlemen and gentlewomen, is called plot. Plot. So when you are telling a story, okay, either of what happened to you today, what happened 10 years ago when you were in secondary school or in university, you are giving a narrative. What does fiction, what is the difference between that narrative and fiction? So we've said that plot is essential, right? So what does plot do? The difference is that when you talk about plot is narrative plus causality. So you've just given two events that happened over a 6-month period. The queen dies. 6 months later, her husband, the king, dies as well. Now, if we want to change the same sequence of events into plot, in other words, to make it worthy of fiction, we make one event ramify the other one. We make one event a reverberation of the previous one. So if we said the queen died, and 6 months later, the king died of grief, you have put a cause and effect relationship. So it's not just two events that happened arbitrarily. So our lives are not organized as a plot. So part of what you see in novels is that people are able to bring a series of events together, but they don't know how to link those events in a cause and effect relationship so that it will read like fiction. And so once you don't have that causal effect, you begin to lose that ability that all fiction must have, all good fiction. And that ability is to get the reader of the work to suspend disbelief. The author could start with an accident. So an accident happens, and you say, whoa, why did this person run the red light and precipitate this accident, this tragedy, right? Then the narrator goes back, okay, and tells us, well, we had this coming. It began 3 months ago when the parents for his 18th birthday bought their son a Mercedes-Benz. And so you get the build-up of the story to the point where the accident happened. And then you can then go to the moment where the same character is going to the parents. So a writer can choose. A writer chooses details in a story. Every minute detail, the minutiae of stories, the writer has to be in command of the faculty of the story, right? And this is exemplified in, say, any story that we read. So we all have our culturally specific ideas of beauty. So as an author, you owe it to the reader to be as specific as possible. Don't tell somebody, I went to a great party, I went to a magnificent party. Because maybe it's somebody who drinks a lot, and perhaps the party you went to had no alcohol at all. Okay? So it will be a boring party for this person reading it. Describe what happened at the party. Then your reader will say, wow, this was a great party. Oh, boring. Okay? Depending on the response. So if you want to describe a handsome man, give the details, the physical details of this man, the way he looks, the way he walks, his height, and so on and so forth. And somebody will say, wow, what a handsome man. Oh. ugly, and so on. So for me, it is best, always best as a practice, to be as specific as possible. So you describe the character. Even if you say a handsome man, you say a handsome man of 6'2", with a full head of hair, or who is bald but carries it with grace, and so on and so forth. So you describe, you give details. Always. It's important.